Yeah, I almost choked on coffee though. I have to get
How
that
do
out
you
real quick.
how do you choke on coffee?
I was like, drinking hella fast. I was like, I gotta go. I was like, I just want to start up. Fuck!
So, bud, are you ready to talk about half-naked men and potentially half-naked women?
Yeah, dude, that's like what I live for. You know me.
I'm assuming since you in the past life had, experience actually wrestling, why don't you start out? How did you get into wrestling? Professional and real wrestling.
Well, professional wrestling, that's the more important one, obviously. But yeah, man, I mean, I guess like in 1990, I don't know, technically 95, I started watching, because I grew up, in the 90s. I'm pretty old, 36. So yeah, on TV, I just like stay up hella late, and there'd be these random like WWF, back when it was F, highlight reels and shit like that. Oh, I already said it. And yeah, I just watched those and I'd be like, dude, these guys are crazy. Like, what is happening? And then I got into it more and more, playing the video games. Um, I actually played the video games before I started watching on TV, ironically. Like, I played the NES game at my buddy's house, and also the SNES games that came
So was
out.
this
Like
pro wrestling on the Nintendo, or was this WWF WrestleMania on the Nintendo?
WrestleMania that came out in like '89, I believe. I used to go to my rich friend's house because I grew up kind of poor. So my friend had all the games, dude, like NES, SNES, N64, PlayStation, like everything, Sega. I'd go over there, play those games, spend the night, play all night, play all morning. It's pretty fun. To sum it up, honestly, I started playing video games like the 90, 91, 92 era. So a couple years before 95 when I started watching. So yeah, video games first, watching on TV, and then yeah, how about you for the pro wrestling? How about that?
Well, as you
I'll
know,
go
I'm a baby. I was born in '96, so wrestling was at its peak '90s popularity from like '96 to 2000. So I grew up right at the time where wrestling was its most popular, and right at the time where I couldn't remember anything. So I'd say wrestling, video games, and just watching it just went hand in hand. I don't know what I did first. Probably watch it first. But all my cousins, my older brother, everyone watched wrestling. All the people at school were talking about wrestling. But since I was under the age of 5, I don't have a ton of memories about it. One thing I do remember is my parents were super strict about what I watched. So if I did ever watch it,
Mhm.
I'd have to like listen down the hall for my dad, and I'd immediately like flip to something else because I was scared I'd get in trouble for watching wrestling. Because you don't want, I didn't want my dad walking in on Stone Cold flipping people off and swearing and then yelling at me like, you shouldn't be watching that. So
Yeah,
that was pretty much
yeah.
me growing up.
Yeah, my parents let me watch fucking whatever, but like Girls Gone Wild, that's what I had to like switch the TV off because I'd be up to like 2, 3 in the morning watching wrestling, music videos, MTV. Then Girls Gone Wild would come on, and I'd be like, oh shit! And I used to record it actually on VHS. So yeah, that is a thing. That's another story for another time. But anyway, we got kids here, so let's talk about something
Yeah,
else.
we have kids, plenty of kids listening to the insert name here podcast. But I'd say my main introduction was my older half brother. He'd get certain pay per views. He'd buy all the games. He'd have certain pay per views on like VHS because we're both old, and we'd watch those from time to time. There's some pictures of him in like '97, at one of our birthday parties wearing an Austin 316 shirt. So he was pretty much ride or die WWF. He liked WCW and stuff like that, but he was mostly a WWF guy. I guess that's my next thing. Did you watch much WCW or were you more WWF?
I mean, I was pretty much WWF, and you'll see why. My favorite wrestler was from WWF. But honestly, I kind of like watched WCW here and there too. For some reason, I didn't catch it live as much. Like, I don't know what that was all about, but maybe they had conflicting airtime. I don't know, but I used to watch WWF way more. Um, my first games were WWF. WCW, honestly, in, influenced me a lot in a way because Sting, that guy.
Mhm.
That was my one and only Halloween costume, actually. I was Red Sting or whatever the fuck that is, the wolf pack or whatever. Yeah, so I dressed up as Red Sting when I was like, what? I don't know, 10 or something. But yeah.
I don't think
So
I ever dressed up as anyone for Halloween, but I did have a. I'll need to get pictures of it when I upload this, but I did have a wrestling themed birthday party in 1999 where my mom got a wrestling birthday cake. So, the top of the cake had the robes and the ring post, and I think it was Sting and Goldberg action figures in the middle of the cake. I
epic.
had a Goldberg shirt on, and I'm just looking like the happiest kid ever. And I got this one particular toy. I'm gonna pull it up for you now. Remember, like those bashing buddies you used to have back in the day? I know the WWF had some in the '80s with like Hulk Hogan and things like that. It was like this
Yeah.
little plush doll.
Yeah.
I had
I actually
one.
had, yep, I actually had the Hulk NWO version.
Hold
You
up.
punch him in the stomach, go, "Rrr, brother."
Yeah,
You're like,
oh
"Thank
yeah,
you."
So here's the one I
Yeah,
had,
dude.
but mine was for Goldberg.
Yeah.
Oh, my aching gut. Oh, I'm gonna rip you apart. Get ready.
Sounds
for the
nothing like
meat.
Goldberg, but it was still cool.
You're next, the jackhammer.
Dude, classic.
Oh, my aching gut. Oh, I'm gonna rip you apart. One, two.
That's how I played with it.
Who's next?
So yeah, that's the
Crazy.
one I had, and it was the shit.
Yeah, dude, I used to like choke it and do crazy shit like choke slam and nothing would happen. But I was like,
It was
throw
one of
it
those
on the
things
ground.
where
Ah!
I'd throw it around and fuck with it so much that eventually it broke. So eventually it stopped talking. And like a lot of toys back in the day, my mom would just give it away after we quit playing with it for a period of time. But
Give
yeah,
it
I'll see if I can
away.
get those pictures of that birthday party. But
Yeah, dude, like not to go on a tangent, but those toys, man, from the 90s, bro. Like I had the Stretch Armstrong, dude. You know about that? Holy crap, dude. Stretch Armstrong. When that came out, we literally broke it. That was fun. All the way across the house, just like a bunch of sand just flew everywhere. It was like a sand grenade. But yeah. Anyway.
another one I had was, let me see if I can find this. It was actually Goldberg in like a construction outfit. Yeah, it was Goldberg in a construction outfit with a little jackhammer. I think I also got that for this
Oh, that's
birthday. You can
cute.
sort of see it. But yes, of course, wrestling toys were amazing. I wish I could buy everyone, but my parents would only get me stuff for my birthday or Christmas, including games, so I'd have to make stuff last.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and then like to go back to the wrestling real quick, like yeah, so I actually wrestled IRL, not professionally, but high school wrestling. So I mean, I got into that. That was actually my favorite sport that I actually played. I played football, varsity football, varsity wrestling. I played baseball, basketball growing up, but yeah, I don't know. My coach just like I don't know, put up flyers and was like, "Hey, wrestle, you want to wrestle?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to wrestle." But that was kind of like after like I stopped watching wrestling. Um, yeah, that was just really cool sport, man. I learned a lot about life, honestly. Like seriously, like communication, accountability, um, just strength training, socializing, basically pushing my limits mentally and physically. Like I was in the most physical peak I've ever been in my life.
Were
It
you
was great.
playing sports until the end of your senior year?
No, I quit my last senior year to
I was
do
about to
drugs
say,
and have sex with women. But yeah,
that's
we'll
what I
get
figured.
about
I was about to ask, well, did you
that.
like had try to pursue that anymore to get like scholarships or anything like that?
No, like I had like normal-ish grades. I mean, not really normal. I mean, you know how it goes. Like, I mean, I had A's and B's, and then I went C's, and I got a couple D's. Like, basically, the older I got, the less fucking schoolwork I did. Like, I was like, fuck that. I'm just gonna do sports and party and have sex with women. So I barely passed high school,
Oh,
dude.
if you were a professional football player, you could have done all those things and then had, an Asian kid take your tests in high school and college for you.
Well, the thing about football is I am fucking 5'9.5". So no. Yeah. All the dudes start getting way bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like I could take down some guys that are twice as tall as me, like smash them. I was kind of like the original Marshawn Lynch. That's what they say. That's what my parents
Mm-hmm.
said. Like, oh my god, you gotta be running with the ball, and they have like 10 dudes fucking like just stop. Like they could not tackle me. It's crazy. They'd have to blow the whistle and shit. And I'd basically Goldberg people, like the guys that are huge, like the centers and the huge dudes. I would fucking
Just
spear him, boom. Yeah, I'd take him down. It's crazy. But no, wrestling was great. I learned a lot about life. I was
Learned a lot
dedicated.
about shoving men down to the mat, getting neck to neck, butt to butt,
Yeah,
dick to
dude,
ass.
you learn your limits mentally and physically, and as I said, you just basically train your ass off, and you become. It's like the closest I've been into the military. It was like crazy. I remember running and working out until like 3 in the morning and shit in the snow, running up the bleachers in the snow at like 3 in the morning, just going crazy. Run all the way to the high school from my house. It was nuts.
Well, I have never been gifted at any type of balls. So I played football 1 year in 7th grade. I was like 70 pounds, 5 foot nothing, and it didn't go good. So I only played football for 1 year.
Hey, we can't have it all. You got other skills. You're the gamer god, dude. My coach was pissed when I quit. He kept like putting like he was actually one of my teachers too. He put, hey, Coach Feist, if you hear this, I love you, man. Thank you for everything. But he actually put like a little flyer on my desk like every day for like a week. He's like, join the team. Join. I was like, no, dude. I don't want to do it this year. I want a life.
Well, like I was saying, wrestling everyone was talking about it when I was
Yep.
growing up, but of course around 2002 is when it started to peter out, after WCW closed. So, did you have a lot of people talking about wrestling in your neck of the woods or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I was a pretty social butterfly. Like I'd hang out with the jocks, hang out with the nerds, hang out with the gothic people, hang out with the punk rockers, the metalheads, the hot blonde chicks, like hang out with the loners. Like, but honestly, like not a lot of people talked about it, dude. Like I grew up in it was like a suburb mixed with rural. I mean, not really. I mean, you can't really do that, but it was like you drive a couple miles and it was like the woods, right? Like fields. So it was kind of a mixture. But honestly, no, not a lot of people talked about it.
In my
'Cause,
case, you just go 5 feet and you're in the woods, so
yeah. So it was like,
But I know
I don't know.
wrestling's always been a bigger thing in the South. Like wrestling's super popular in the South, or back in the day it used to be. Ric Flair and shit were
Yeah.
always super popular.
Oh yeah, I'm from Seattle, by the way. So that, yeah, it was a little different. But no, honestly, it was all about just music and drugs, dude. That's what everyone talked about. And they talk about other sports like football. It was basically like mainstream sports, honestly. But yeah, dude, there's my life story.
Like I said, about 2002 is when all my cousins stopped watching. 2003 or so is when my older brother stopped watching, but my brother would still, buy the games. I think after Brock Lesnar left in 2004, my brother was just completely, or my older brother, because my younger brother will come into play later. My older brother was just completely done with the wrestling, but we still keep buying the games. But every year the roster was completely different. Like from 2003 to, probably 2010 or so, the WWE roster was changing like every year. Like it felt like they keep 5 guys, and then everybody else on the roster would just get fired or go somewhere else. So you get the game every year and be like, who the fuck are these guys? And by the time the next year comes around, it's just a completely different roster. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like on my notes here, like my timeline is 95 to 2002/2003. That's like my watching career. And then, 2023, last year I watched for a couple months just to like peek in on it, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With all the 2Ks coming out and all that shit, I was like, looking up YouTube reels and shit and kind of following the story. But yeah, I watched like 2 episodes last year just for fun. But I was like, what is this, bro? But yeah, 2000 that tracks 2003. That's kind of when I stopped. I mean, I stopped for other reasons, as I said, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. That's when I started like hit puberty hard, and I was like, screw that, dude. I'm going outside.
I was like 6, so I wasn't, preoccupied with that.
Yeah, that was when I like stopped playing video games for 10 years. I just like stopped everything. Like I was outside, man. Then I came back, to video games and being a goblin about 10 years ago. So it's like a 10-year on, 10-year off. So I'm slowly becoming less of a goblin. It's been 10 years, so I gotta go back. But yeah.
And one day we'll both be 6 years old and, go get the early bird specials and, go home and play Super Turbo or whatever.
I kind of think about that. Like, I love gaming. I've always loved it. I don't think I'll ever quit. But it's like, I'm thinking about it. Like, when I'm old as fuck, I mean, they have Switches now. We're good, bro. I'll just be like, hey, give me a Switch.
There's still like 80-year-old people on Twitch playing RuneScape, man. You'll be fine.
I mean, like, if I go into like a home and I can't move, at least they have Switches now and like Steam Decks. So if I survive to be like 80 or 90, I think they'll have some good VR they can put in the homes.
All right. I think our segue onto the next portion is memorable moments or promos or anything you remember.
How would you start this time?
Oh, okay. So
Trading, bruh.
Yeah.
Trading blows.
We're both chopping each other in the corner. I have written down my first memory that I can recall.
Your first memory ever.
Yeah. Actually, my first memory ever is my brother got GoldenEye 007 for the N64. I was like 2 years old. It just
That's
come
your
out.
first memory?
Yes. And
No wonder you're the
he
gamer dad.
loaded the game up, and he went to the bathroom, and I grabbed the controller, and I knew enough in my head, like, there's a gun, he's playing James Bond, how do I shoot? So I pressed every button on the controller, and I could not figure it out. Turns out it was the Z button on the bottom, the one I didn't know about.
Yep.
And I remember him coming back and be like, what the fuck? Even though it was the start of the level, and I got him killed, like, dude, calm down. So that's one of my first memories.
That's cool, though. That's awesome, actually, as a gaming memory. Mine was definitely not. It was like crawling under the table, like, with my brother. Like, I remember what it looked like. But anyway.
Another thing my dad tells me is playing Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo, and on the Living Forest stage, the trees would move, and that would scare me, and I run out in the hall. And he'd find me like in the corner and be like, what are you scared of? I'm like, those trees talk. But, I guess we can go over that in a future fighting game episode. But yeah, my first wrestling memory is tied to my older brother again. We were watching Raw at his house one night. It was April 1999. The Rock was feuding with Steve Austin over the heavyweight title, as, was the case at the time. And Raw from 96 to 99 was mostly written by a guy named Vince Russo. He formatted the show as Car Crash TV. He wanted something to be happening every second, so you didn't flip to WCW. So, on the previous week's show, The Rock was on a bridge threatening to throw Stone Cold's belt into the water. And of course, near the end of the show, Austin pulls up in his truck, starts fighting The Rock. But oh no, The Rock gets the upper hand, and Stone Cold is sent into the cold Detroit River. And I have a clip to pull up.
Did you watch that shit, like, live?
Yeah.
Damn.
I was at my brother's house, so let me know if you can hear the shit.
Well, hell, I guess.
Can you hear that?
According to The Rock's Rolex, it's taken a long time for that piece of trash to come. The Rock really couldn't tell, so what he's going to do is go on and throw this Stone Cold. Well, The Rock smells trash. Oh, well, look at this. Look what we got going on here. Biggest piece of trailer park trash. Walking God's green earth. You want your precious belt? Well, there it is. Will you bring it?
And if you listen closely in the background, Rage Against the Machine is playing.
God's green earth. You want your precious belt? Well, there it is. Will you bring your candy axe?
Here we go. Here we go now.
So it's either from his car, but it sounds like it's
We're here outside.
mixed in. Sounds pretty good.
They did a lot of it. Like, there's a camera guy standing over there. You can see his shadow.
Yeah, I was like, there's too much bass for that to be a Outlook car. Go to hell.
And oh my god, that dummy who's totally not Stone Cold is going toward the water.
No. Austin, you want your belt?
He just doesn't even gasp.
Here it is, and you take it to hell with you.
He's just concussed in the water.
But of course, to 3-year-old me, oh my god, Stone Cold's dead. The Rock just killed him. So on next week's show, of course, it opens up with The Rock saying, oh, Stone Cold's fucking dead, the biggest piece of trailer park trash. And the main event of the show is The Rock holding a funeral for Stone Cold, who is now dead. He's drowning. So, of course, I'm bawling my eyes out, like, they killed Stone Cold! But of course, this happens.
You smell what the
Rock is capable of absolutely anything. That's why he's The Rock. I'll tell you what, I think I know.
That's why it's The Rock.
The Brahma Bull is gonna come out spitting, and at
No
backlash,
sideburns.
the Brahma Bull is gonna take his horns and
Yep,
spear
just like mine that I had
them
when I was
right into
emo. Remember
candy
that?
Well, you guys
Just
are
trying to
new
be The
there,
Rock.
Challenger, remember that. You're the challenger this Sunday at Backlash. He's The Rock. Well, look at that belt. We got it.
Oh my god, Stone Cold, he's not dead.
What the hell is that? There's a rattlesnake. What is he trying? I told you he'd be
Of course, he's in a monster truck, because why not?
Grave digger. I remember seeing those commercials every day. The giant fucking grave dirt. Just a mound.
Yep.
Just a pile of dirt.
Yeah, they get up those pounds of dirt for, the buried alive matches and stuff like that. Undertaker would have.
Yeah.
Always got a mound of dirt.
It's like, well, we got some extra dirt.
Oh my God, it's Shane McMahon! Oh my God, Shane McMahon just killed Steve Austin.
Shane McMahon just leveled Austin with a shovel. He busted it over his head. What the? Shane McMahon. He'll be the referee this Sunday at Backlash. Oh my God.
And Triple H comes back, gets him and keep it going until you get like 10 bodies in the grave.
And oh my God, we're going off the air with that. But yes, I thought The Rock had legitimately killed Stone Cold. So
Dang.
that's just how crazy wrestling was at the time. And
Oh,
how
probably.
3-year-old me thought it was so real. It's so real.
Yeah, the plot started getting kind of ridiculous, and I can see, you know, an influential child being like, "Oh my God, that's like." I mean, honestly, I thought a lot of that shit was real too, like to a degree. And I was like 10 in 1998, so. But yeah, dude. Crazy.
So speaking of lunchboxes, I had this lunchbox. I took it to school one day and someone stole it.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
fucked
the
up.
first day I brought it to lunch, I was so sad. Someone stole this.
Dude, what?
So the next few weeks, I was scouring the school trying to see who stole my lunchbox.
That's fucking sad.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, dude.
I was pissed.
Damn, little kids are bastards, dude.
Oh, of
As you
course.
know, Mother
Mhm.
Trucker. Mother Trucker. Mankind was like my god, dude. I loved Mankind. And yeah, I saw this live, dude. I went to my buddy's house, saw that, and this is an instant. I mean, this is like, obviously it's real to a degree, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
fucking real. He fucking fucked. But like the plots, obviously those are fabricated, but this is Mankind is like the most real dude. He basically made me believe in wrestling, dude. Like, I mean, I'm not the only one with that sentiment. He was a soldier, dude. But anyway, I saw this live, and I obviously didn't know what was going on. I was like 10, well, 9 years old actually. And as you all know, everybody knows, this is like top 5 wrestling moments of all time. So he just kept going afterwards. But there's no faking this shit, man. I mean, the whole match. I mean, he had multiple concussions. His tooth went into
His
fucking
tooth went through his mouth,
yeah, dude.
up into his nose,
Yeah, he's like
his big ass.
yeah, dude. Let's go.
Good God Almighty! Good God Almighty! He broke it down.
Yeah, dude. He was knocked out for however many seconds or whatever. Then he woke up, I think, right there when he like moved. He wasn't the best technical wrestler, but he was like
He
the
can
most
certainly
real.
fall.
He could take so much damage, dude. Concussions, like breaking fucking bones. Like he comes from the hardcore scene, so but yeah. Damn. All right, so yeah, I got another one. Have fun with that one.
Oh yes, this is a good one too.
Yeah, I remember seeing that shit too, man.
And she was all for this. She's like, "You better fucking not hold back. I want you to fucking powerbomb me."
Really?
Yeah.
Don't hold back. Turning in, you know, watching. Okay, what's the episode tonight? Oh my god!
You watch Raw and SmackDown, or just Raw?
Both, because SmackDown is kind of like when I started to phase out slowly, and then it's fucking.
Then the other gimmick is he comes every time he throws someone to the table. He's ejaculated in his pants. But yeah, man, she was all for this. She's like, "Don't be a fucking pussy, you better throw me off this thing." But yeah, this is a segment between Rock and Mick Foley right now.
We'll see.
This is your life.
What? What did you? This is. What did he say? This is what? This is Rock's life. Look at the
Yeah,
look
dude,
on
it's been
Rock's
so long.
face.
And as The Rock put his hand ever so gently on your knee, slid his hand up inch by inch.
Oh boy! Rock's old high school girlfriend here on This Is Your Life. Thanks
And what
to
did
Mick
you
Foley.
do? You cut The Rock off on second base.
Uh-oh. You ever get picked off on second, King?
You cut The Rock off.
Moses couldn't put her legs.
And now in front of all The Rock's fans, you
God damn
want to
it.
serve The Rock a great big piece of that poontang pie?
I remember that.
They made Poontang Pie t-shirts. It's the worst thing ever.
I don't
That's
know.
right.
Whatever it was, I'm sure she'd be willing to serve it to him. Piping hot. Homemade.
But just to show how many people were watching wrestling at the time, got a quote from the Wrestling Observer, which is a wrestling newsletter. June 28th, 1999, a match for Steve Austin won the WWF title from The Undertaker in Charlotte, drew the largest rating and audience to ever witness a pro wrestling match, or for that matter, any pro wrestling segment ever on U.S. cable television. The match did a 9.95 rating, which was 10.72 million viewers. Perhaps the most impressive is that 1 out of every 6 televisions in the U.S. that had cable that was on during that time was watching that match. Because for more than a decade, Vince Russo has made it a talking point to say how the This Is Your Life Rock segment was the highest rated segment in history. It did an 8.4 quarter to show that skits outdrew matches. It became a talking point of how that was the highest rated Raw segment at the time. But yeah, at some point, 1 out of every 6 TVs in the United States were watching the WWF.
That's crazy. So, I mean, that actually explains the reasoning why those skits and promos got fucking out of hand, because as you just said, statistically, those sold more, or like more views, basically.
So, but
it's crazy.
Let me find the Poontang Pie shirt for you.
Oh yeah, let's see how much those are going for. We got to get some for the next episode. We got to wear them.
That's a terrible T-shirt. Look at that thing.
Oh my god!
So I told you, it's a terrible T-shirt.
You got the armband and everything on that.
Today for $300, you can buy it. Or maybe you can get a bootleg off Etsy. Yeah, get a bootleg off Etsy.
That's ridiculous.
Well, Buttery, who were your favorite wrestlers?
You.
Oh, thank you. Been training hard.
Well, my favorite wrestler is, you could probably get a hint, but Mankind obviously is my, well, not obviously to the new subscribers here, but yeah, Mankind. Multiple reasons, like I was into like heavy metal and heavy rock and stuff when I was a little kid. And like he just had that aesthetic. He just looked weird, dude. Like I saw him, he just looked like an animal. Like Korn was my favorite band, right? Back in the day. I remember watching all their shit on MTV, Freak on a Leash. I remember seeing that when it like premiered. Like, yeah, dude. But anyway, he's literally like a freak on a leash. He's fucking crazy. I remember actually doing the Socko move on my brother multiple times. Like he hated it. Like me and my brother are pretty cool, but I was like the older brother, a couple years older, a little more physically fit. Like I didn't bully him. I would ask him for consent. That's how like nice I am. I'm like, hey, can I do this move on? He's like, sure. Like I used to power bomb him and shit. Like I'd just get like 5 or 10 boxes, like cardboard boxes, and stack them up and just like boom, like fucking. It was crazy. But yeah, Mankind, baby. His music, like his original music, I kind of like.
Hold up, we got to get the original.
I kind of like. Well, what I was gonna say, like that's when I kind of started watching him like a little bit after that, technically, like. So I didn't really watch too much of that original era, but yeah.
How I found this theme is in WWF Warzone. This is his theme. He doesn't have the car crash theme yet. So yeah, loading up Warzone and hearing this, I'm like, what is this? That's not his music. We still need to play that fucking one day because it's so bad.
Yeah, I definitely started watching when this era was like phasing out. But yeah, Mankind, baby. He's my number 1. And then, I mean, I have like number 2, Stone Cold. It's kind of, I mean, it's hard to pick. Not hard to pick, but it's hard to like ooh, I'm so original. He's my favorite guy. Because like, obviously, all the big superstars.
Obviously, I'm going to say Steve Austin's my number 1. I know it's going to be cliche, but yeah. He's the reason I'm into wrestling.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, Stone Cold's number 2 for a lot of reasons. Mainly, like, his music theme is like my favorite of any wrestler, period. Like, comes back to Korn. It sounds like fucking Korn. I don't know. I was obsessed with Korn, dude. Yeah, then like the music and then his attitude, obviously, just a badass dude. I liked him. But then Kurt Angle's my number 3, like mainly because he was like a real Olympic wrestler, like, and his theme is badass.
Well, my number 3 is also Kurt Angle, so
is it?
I love Kurt Angle. Yeah. I mean, he's great at playing a good guy. He's great at playing a goofy bad guy. He could do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, my coach would always talk shit about him, like all the time. He's a fucking fake wrestler. Like, how did he betrayed us? Like,
I mean,
I would do it too for millions of dollars. But no,
I mean, there's not a future in quote unquote amateur wrestling.
Well, like Greco-Roman wrestling, like Olympic prestige. That's like, I mean, it's not all about the money. Like,
I mean, he did everything. He won the gold medal.
No,
and
with a broken neck.
With a broken freaking neck, and then he went on to make millions of dollars wrestling for like 20 years. I mean, he did it. Like,
it was like a business decision. Obviously,
there's nothing better he could have done.
Yeah, but just like the culture of wrestling, like it's just like sell out mode to the max. But I mean, hey, whatever. It's like millions of dollars, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, what are you gonna do? But no, like I'm a musician first and foremost, so like the themes tied me to some of my favorites for sure. There, like just the music is so epic. And then honorable mentions for me. I know I'm kind of steamrolling you there, but honorable mentions: China. I love women. Okay, not just in this sexual way, but like I like a woman that's like fucking. I don't know.
Jack.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't know. Like I grew up with. I was raised by women. Like I just like women. They're cool. They're badass, dude. And she like embodied like a badass woman. She's cool. She's and then like Gold Dust is my other honorable mention because I like his weird.
Because he's
shit.
fucking crazy.
I think he just looked cool too. I like the gold sparkle. Anyway, how about you, dude?
Number 2 is The Rock, but my 4 and 5 are newer wrestlers, so you probably heard of them. But like CM Punk, have you heard of him?
Yeah, he's popular. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan, they're newer wrestlers. They're still going at it, man. So like in the later stages of WWE and stuff like that, those are my guys. Those are kind of everyone on the internet's guys, because everybody else is like, a John Cena or,
Oh God, you can't see me.
CM Punk and guys like Daniel Bryan are more about the in-ring stuff. Like they had really good, they wrestled really well and really fast-paced style. So around the time, people on the internet really liked those two guys.
Yeah, like the gimmicks and stuff got kind of like weird. Like, I mean, they got less weird, I think, as time goes on. Because like, think about it, John Cena, like his gimmicks, like just not even like a gimmick. He's like a bro. Fucking like, what is that shit? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the Gold Dust type crazy shit.
He started out as a white boy rapper, and then he just became, just a good guy. That was his gimmick. He was John Cena. He wore jorts, and he was a good guy. He's about the kids. He's on Fruit Loops.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like less like totally like abstract. I mean, I'm sure there's some but like what's his name? The vampire dude. What's his name?
Gangrel.
Yeah, like he's fucking like spitting blood and just looking like crazy. Like,
I mean, Edge and Christian were also part of that.
No, I'm saying like nowadays, like the last like 10 years, they don't have as many crazy gimmicks. They're just normal wrestlers with like jocks. Like, okay, my personality is more about it. Like, there's no costume gimmick. I mean, you know what I'm saying they blended it.
There's a few, but yeah, that's definitely
not as rampant.
Not as rampant.
Like even Dudley Boys look like they even look cool. Like they have like original suits and shit. I mean, I think they have a couple new tag teams. Like, what is their team? Those black dudes, the fucking
New Day.
Yeah, New Day. They look kind of cool. Yeah, talking about music and themes, like Stone Cold was my favorite, obviously. But for Quickie, what's your favorite theme?
Well, you talked about earlier. We got to hear Sting's WCW theme. Let me find it. I think it's this one. So of course, in '97, while he's going after Hulk Hogan, they just pretty much ripped off the Crow. So
yeah, dude, hella crowed out.
So they pretty much just took that face paint and then gave it to Sting. So he got this orchestrate theme.
Sounds like a SNES Final Fantasy game, like Final Fantasy 6 quality. Yeah, honestly, Sting was probably the most I was into, like, in the WCW for sure. As I said, I dressed up as him, but a lot of my memories of WCW are like Diamond Dallas Page, NWO, and Sting. Like, I don't remember much more than that.
Well, if we're going to talk about Diamond Dallas Page, we can listen to his rip-off Nirvana theme.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Self high five.
Dude, I didn't even realize that. What the fuck? It's
Come
What?
as you
It goes that
are.
far to the
As
DVD?
you well. And then we have this other one.
Dude, that is
Then
so
the
good.
Ravens theme.
I didn't even know that, dude. What the fuck?
It's also a Nirvana ripoff.
They just changed a couple notes.
They
to make
changed
it
enough
not- oh my
notes to not
God.
get sued. Because what's his face? Nirvana's drummer actually tried to sue
Dave
WCW. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I was about to look up some lawsuit shit.
Okay, now let's listen to Chris Jericho's WCW theme.
Pearl Jam.
Even flow.
What the hell?
So yeah, WCW was known for having a ton of knockoff themes.
Jesus Christ. Dude, side note, I'm gonna send you some videos. I did karaoke a couple weeks ago, and I did Pearl Jam and fucking Limp Bizkit, and dude, it was so funny.
Well, speaking of Limp Bizkit,
Oh my god, that's the song I did. What? Rolling, 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 rolling.
yes, Undertaker came out to Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I used to roll around, and then
Keep rolling.
Yeah, in the 90s, whatever. This is 99 actually. It came out November 2nd, 1999. Yeah, there's the one. I used to roll around in my mom's van, and I'd be like, play this CD. I don't know how the fuck I got this CD or where it came from. Just like a lot of things in my childhood, like it just appeared. Like, oh, I got this game. Like, I got this CD somehow, and I used to listen to it all the time.
Yeah, we had something similar. We had a DVD, but it had the Titantrons with the themes.
Yeah.
So we couldn't play it in our car, which was upsetting. We had to play it on the DVD player in the car. So
Yeah.
I'll play a bit of this, and I have a funny story about this too.
Nice man.
My second favorite thing.
I'm a nice man.
It's the intro.
Here we go.
As a little kid, man, that was just like so influential. Not, but I just loved it.
Funny story about this theme in No Mercy. That is his theme, and my dad walked in on that playing, and he's like, "Whatever you're playing, you need to turn it off." So I had to go into Create a Wrestler, edit Billy Gunn's theme to remove it. I just made it something completely random. That way the Mr. Ass theme wouldn't play, and my dad wouldn't walk in there and be like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" But imagine my dad, who knows nothing about wrestling other than, like, you know, Ric Flair in like the 70s, walking in on me playing a wrestling game with "I'm an ass man" playing in the background.
Yeah, it was probably a shocking
He's like,
cultural,
what does this
no.
have to do? Like, what does this have to do with wrestling? What are you listening to?
Yeah, exactly. Wrestling's changed, Dad. You know, like, I think my favorite modern wrestler is Rhea Ripley. Like, I popped in, you know what I'm saying, last year a little bit to check in on the scene. I was like, oh, damn, this is like China 2.0, but like better. But her theme is fucking ridiculous. Like, it's like,
The sad thing about modern wrestling is a lot of the themes sound the same, but hers is pretty good.
Like, I don't even know what he's saying. I know it's a real band. It's like Motionless in White or something, but like, I'm a big metalhead, so like I kind of like low-key like it, but I just don't know what he's saying. I don't think I want to look it up. But, yeah, there you go. The chorus is lit though. I fucked that part though.
Yeah, this is the stuff that's gonna get us.
Like, what is it?
Right. No, you get the lyrics down here, buddy. Don't look at my eyes. Look at the eyes taken down. But yeah, I know a big complaint these days is that everyone's theme sounds the same, and you can't tell whose theme is whose because they all sound the same.
Yeah, for sure.
But another song off the album you sent me, because Triple H was the main bad guy at the time, and I played a shit ton of No Mercy. I heard this theme a lot, and I still like it.
1, 2, is this on?
Oh yeah.
Jimmy hit me with that Triple H.
Yeah, this is actually really lit. Forgot about this one.
He would go on to have Motorhead as his theme, and he's still using that, but I just prefer this.
Yeah, that one was fucking lit.
But yeah, this song just reminds me of No Mercy, so anytime I hear it, I just think of No Mercy, so I like it.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the top 5 intros. It's great. I remember when one of the SmackDown games started coming out, like after the first two or something. He had like really good graphics or something, and his like spit was like, oh shit, look at his spit.
That was always the gauge back in the day. How does Triple H's spit look in this game?
Speaking of games, good segue. When I was trying to think about what the fuck it was called, the 2K games. Yes, the 2K games. You know, I got the 23. You still got to play some of those, dude. But
Yep.
the new one, I guess they're actually stopping services like they always fucking do. I think
2K is terrible, man. Yeah, give it like a year and they'll just shut off the servers.
Well, they said, like, I was reading an article the other day that 23 is the only one that's live right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're doing it literally like every year. Like, yeah, as you said, 2 or 3 years and it's done. Maybe like 2 years.
They do that, and they also delist the games, so you can't buy them anymore. It's terrible. At least with THQ, they keep the servers for the old games online for as long as they could.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought 2K19 because honestly, I played it for like, 3 months or whatever. Like, you remember that when I bought it. It's actually really good. I like how
if you want some trash, I own 2K20. We just need to hop in that one day.
Yeah, I got 1920. I think I skipped 21. I mean, didn't 21 not?
Well, 21 didn't come out because 20 did so bad. Because 20 was so buggy and ugly that they completely took a break for a year.
Yeah, so I have everyone from 20, 21, 22, 23. Thanks for getting me one of those. I remember you bought me one of those, but 23 is still pretty lit. I popped in here and there. We got to play it again. But yeah, speaking of that, what's your favorite fucking video games and shit?
Well, I was talking about earlier, but WWF No Mercy.
We'll talk about it again.
N64 is my favorite wrestling game because I just have so many fond childhood memories of it, and it was the last N64 wrestling game, and it's just great. Of course, I remember my.
Which one is it?
No Mercy. WWF No Mercy for the N64 by Aki Entertainment, published by THQ. But the first wrestling game I actually ever played was something we talked about earlier, WWF Warzone, and that game sucked. So if you've never played Warzone before, whenever you grapple with somebody, the audience, the audience. Whenever you grapple with somebody, you pretty much have to enter a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat style command to do moves. So you would grapple with somebody, press pause, go to the move list, and then have to figure out what combination of moves or buttons you needed to do a basic suplex. Meanwhile, games like No Mercy, it's just you grapple and you just do B left, B right, B up, B down, and there you go, you did the move.
Yeah, did you like combine like a small string? Mm-hmm. It was weird.
And you had to get your opponent down to a red health bar before you could do the finisher, which wasn't in the manual. You had to just figure out what they were.
Yeah, that game was pretty jank, but it's funny because it's on my. I only have a list of 3 here, and that's like my number 2.
well, one day we'll go back to that in Attitude. We'll play it in the video because I feel like that'd be funny. But yeah, also the early SmackDown games for like the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, like we talked about earlier. Yeah. Shut your mouth, here comes the pain. Yeah. SmackDown 2 on the PS1 is what made me want to get a PlayStation 1 because my brother bought it. He brought it over to our house, and of course he shows us, he pops in the game and it has all the wrestler themes. They're not super compressed like they are on the N64. It actually has their Titantrons in the background. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get a PlayStation. So that was one of the reasons I became a PlayStation fan instead of a Nintendo fan, was games like that.
Yeah, like PS2 and shit, especially like that's when wrestling games were like ridiculously good looking. It was like, whoa! I mean, nothing compared to now, but that was like breakthrough. Like, I remember the PS2. Like that again. That was one of the screenshots that I used to look up on the GameSpot, like screenshot forums or whatever. Yeah, that's when I like coincidentally stopped like watching wrestling and playing games and everything, like just everything. I just had a different life, but so I never like. That's why I like when I came back to games, I was like all in. I was like, dude, this looks so much better than the SmackDown. Like Mortal Kombat X and shit. I was like, what the fuck? Graphics are crazy now.
Well, I prefer the arcade style of these older games, so I'm not a fan of what they put out currently, but you do you.
Yeah, they're not the best.
Yeah. But like I said, me and my brother, older brother, we quit watching wrestling, but we would still buy the games. And like I said, each year you pop in the game, there's be all these random people that weren't in there last year and aren't going to be in there a year later. And it's just like, dude, what the fuck is happening with the WWE?
Yeah, it's a mess. I even hate saying WWE. Like, I hate saying that. Like, I say WWF. Like, more
You gotta
often
blame
than
the
not.
World Wildlife Fund. They sued, and now they can't use that anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, so like my favorite game ever, I had to think about this. It's the WCW versus NWO World Tour 97 N64. Like if I never played any wrestling games ever again, like if I've never, wiped my memory like Men in Black and shit, like that
Well,
is
do you
the game.
want
The only game.
World Tour or do you want Revenge?
Nope.
Just World Tour.
Yep.
I get tired.
Just looking at that cover, dude, it just brings back, it floods my memories. Like Donkey Kong, that game.
That's one of the
Fucking
games we played during
007.
COVID, so we
Yep.
have a video of that up on my channel.
Yeah, that was peak. I was like,
Yeah. Revenge was our WCW game, so that cover
yeah, that's
what
on
his
my
game.
list as like it's like a side note. Revenge was cool too. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, this was my World Tour, so
Yeah, so like my second one is Warzone because obviously it was shitty, but it was nostalgic. It was crazy. It was like it looked, I don't know, because obviously World War yeah, World War Tour 97.
World War II 97. Call of Duty WWF Warzone.
No, World Tour is obviously a little more, I don't know, the polygon, it looks more squishy and bulky. It looks like more of the old school games from the 80s and early 90s from SNES and NES, so I like that. But Warzone looked more realistic in a weird way. Like they're more elongated, the movement was slower, but obviously the gameplay was shitty. But I just remember seeing Kane and in that game, and I don't know, it just seemed cool.
Yeah, the only thing Warzone had is it was one of the first American wrestling games to have a creator wrestler, so that was the only reason I liked messing with it, is you could create a wrestler, and then by the time Wrestlemania 2000 and No Mercy came out, those had creator wrestlers, so I had no reason to play Warzone.
Yeah, I remember my buddy, because I remember like when, and then Mankind was funny too, because he'd be like, when you punch him and shit, it sounded like a pig. The sound effects were just ridiculous. I don't know. I remember going to my friend's house again. I had like a rich friend that had like every game console you could think of, like the day it came out. It was crazy. Going to his house, he had a big ass screen, playing Warzone. Pretty fun. I don't know. But then my third favorite is WWF Super WrestleMania 92 SNES. I probably played these three games the most of any wrestling game to date.
Yeah, surprisingly, we didn't have any SNES wrestling games. We didn't really have any wrestling games until the N64, even though my brother was into wrestling.
We gotta link up on that shit, dude. The WrestleMania 92 is fucking lit.
Well, there's WrestleMania, the arcade game, which came out in 1995. So we had the PS1 version of this game, which is pretty much Mortal Kombat with, WWF characters. It was made by Midway.
I remember.
We had the PS1 version of this. So that's another thing we need to mess around with someday.
Yeah, it looks crazy. I remember seeing the photo shoots for that, but I think you sent it to me.
Yeah. So yeah, like Mortal Kombat, they just got real pictures and digitized all the sprites.
It fucking bounces with the jokes.
It is just Mortal Kombat WWF.
That's ridiculous.
So while those games were coming out, we also had some random shit. So my friend across the street had a WCW Nitro for the PS1. This game also sucked. Here, let's pull up a video of it. Oh,
Quick.
Yeah, so this is what it looked like. And it just was super stiff.
Yeah, janky.
Like, I think Warzone probably played a bit better than this, but it was super stiff. The only thing that was cool about it was, like, if Hogan or one of the bad guys won, the crowd would throw trash in the ring. But yeah, pretty much, during the PS3 era when they went to the newer engine with things like WWE 12 and WWE 13, where they went all in on, like, simulation style, and ever since then, I just haven't cared about the games as much. I'll play them for like a week, but it's nothing like No Mercy where I'm playing it every year.
Yeah, wrestling in general, it's funny because I say it's fallen off, but people love it still. I know I had a couple friends that are like obsessed with it. They used to invite me all the time to pay-per-views, like follow the storylines. Like I'm talking like the last 7 years straight they've been doing that. I'm like, what? What the fuck? I don't know. People like it for different reasons. I think the storylines, from what I've seen and read and experienced a little bit, are actually pretty good because they're more realistic. Like they're more drama, I guess. They're more like realistic drama, not just like, oh, I'm gonna throw you in the fucking throw you
I'll
over the
get
bridge.
into some of that in my closing, but I feel like a lot of it is also, I've been watching it for 20 years and I can't stop.
Well, that too.
And
Yeah.
some people just haven't been able to get out of that, like a weird Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. But no, the new wrestlers, some of them are pretty cool. Again, like as you know, I like female characters. I've always played characters. Like I just like them. But like Rhea Ripley, when I saw her, I was like, damn, she's cool. Because again, China, strong, independent, beat your ass, kind of hot. I mean, I like Rhea Ripley's. Her ass is pretty good. She's buff though.
Well, I guess we'll move on to toys, and then we'll be wrapping this up. But yeah, very vivid memories of Christmas time. Our dad would get us wrestling figures and toys, and he'd be setting up steel cages. Or do you know what the elimination chamber is?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this big ass fucking ring. I'm sure you've seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So yeah, we'd get stuff like this, the sets for Christmas. Of course, he spend 2 or 3 hours assembling all this stuff. And after a month, of course, everything would be broken. You can't put it back together. And that was just kind of the wrestling figure cycle until my brother and I were in like middle school. Where, you get these elaborate sets that are like $100. And after a month, they're broken and you can't fit them. Because it's just cheap plastic. But yeah, all this stuff was fun. We had a huge, Tupperware bin of wrestling figures. They're probably still in a.
Oh yeah.
If my mom and dad haven't thrown them out because of reasons, we still had it in a corner somewhere. So you just pull out the bin and then figure out what wrestlers you want to play with that night. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
like I said, since my older brother was also into wrestling, we got his figures, so stuff.
It's funny because I remember the only two toys that I had that were wrestling related was the Hulk Hogan plushie thing, and then I did have. It was kind of like a little tech deck setup. I mean, the size of like a tech deck fucking ramp and shit. But it was one of those wrestling rings. I think it was one of the first ones that came out. I think I'm just talking shit. I don't know. But it had the ropes. It had everything. I had like Undertaker and somebody. But it didn't have the cage. But it had like a little ring, plastic ring with the ropes. And I used to play that for a little bit. That's as far as I got. But I'll have to pull up the toy. I don't remember what it was, but late 90s. Yeah,
so let me pull up a video of this, but yeah, this is a toy we had. It was super cool.
Hey guys,
Okay, yeah.
Effects and play the Superstars.
Come on, dude. So pretty much the action figures had a little sensor on the bottom. If you put them on the stage, their music would play.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's
funny. Let's see what Superstar theme it plays. There we go.
Oh yeah, Jack Specific, dude. I remember that.
But we had this. Yeah. We had this set. It was the coolest thing ever.
That's ridiculously cool.
Another one we had, if I can find pictures of WF backstage toy set. But it was like a backstage area. It had a little toilet, and if you put a wrestler's head in it, it would make like a flushing noise and go. If I could fucking find it, fuck.
Jack Specific.
I think it's this one right here, Backstage Mayhem. But yeah, Jack Specific was owned by THQ, so they made all the games and all the toys back in the day. Oh yeah, and the wall would break right here too. It was so cool.
Dude, that's hella.
Of course, like most things, like I said, it broke in like a month.
And it does have a button inside, so that technically you could shove somebody's head in there. Let's take poor Earl Hebner, and we'll shove his head in there. You can hear a guy gargling, and
it was so cool, man. It was so cool. But yeah, we had some crappy wrestling figures, like this Triple H one. The hair was constantly standing up because it was supposed to be like, oh, you're pile driving him and his hair's going all over the place, but his hair was constantly like that. So we had really shitty figures like that. Yeah, so you'd have just Triple H standing up and his hair's going all over the place.
What the fuck?
They had some awful figures like that.
Looks like Wayne Static, dude. Yeah, those old carts, man, like, it's crazy. I was talking to my brother the other day, actually, and he's like, yeah, I still have the N64. I was like, what the fuck? You still have it? He's like, yeah, I got the Ocarina of Time. I have 007. I was like, what? I thought that thing was
still have ours too. It's in a closet
I thought that thing was gone, dude. Like, I had the SNES for a while, but that's gone. Like, we just don't have our shit no more. My brother somehow has it. I was like, what the fuck? I want to go over to his house and I gotta play that, dude. I remember, like, what year did Ocarina come out?
98.
Yeah, like 10, dude. So, like, Prime.
Our Ocarina still works. The only thing that our cartridge that doesn't work anymore is like our old Mortal Kombat SNES cartridges barely work, and our Super Smash Brothers for the N64 cartridge doesn't work anymore. It's just completely done. But we put so many fucking hours in that game. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I remember blowing on that shit.
We can save our gaming memories for another day. So I guess we can wrap up with, when do you stop watching or caring about wrestling better?
Yeah, I kind of went over that a little bit, but honestly, it was like, 2002/3. I mean, it was a short ride, but I was there for the peak, 95 to 2003. Again, life change. I got older, like 2003. Yeah, high school started to get all crazy, and well, that's when I started to really, yeah, that's it. High school basically started, and I was like, I'm gonna smoke weed, and I'm gonna have sex, and I'm gonna like not play games. And honestly, because I didn't really have I had like a TV and stuff growing up in the basement. Like again, I didn't grow up super I didn't have a lot of money. It's just TV wasn't a priority or nothing like that. Like I was never a TV guy. It sounds like I was, but like I was all about the games and music. So like when I started getting older and going outside and skateboarding more and doing all that stuff, I wasn't really like glued to the TV. So it wasn't anything to do with wrestling in general, but the universe just pulled me away from it. And honestly, it was probably a good time because, as you said, it started getting really fucking weird at that time. So I was there for the ride, man. It was great. 95 to 2003.
Yeah. So like I said, I was kind of up and down with wrestling until about 2014. So yeah, about 2002, like I said, all my cousins stopped watching. My older brother stopped watching. So I had no reason to go and watch it. So instead, like you said, I just started focusing more on games and cartoons and other shows. But around 2007, my younger brother, who was coming into the story, went to a SmackDown taping. And we watched the show because how they would do SmackDown is they would tape it on Tuesday and then they would play it on TV on Thursday or Friday. I think in 2007 it was on Fridays.
Oh.
So, of course, we watched the show to see if we could find him. We couldn't. But that's what got me and my brother back into, my younger brother this time around, back into watching wrestling for a couple of years. So yeah, we watched the show. Then about 2008, right after all the Chris Benoit stuff happens, they really had a push toward PG, family friendly, and all the show just really started to suck. I mean, if I went back and watched the shows before then, they probably sucked as well. But even for 11, 12-year-old me, the show's really... So instead, I just stopped watching the show. And then around 2010, a YouTuber I followed at the time who reviewed a ton of stuff all of a sudden started doing like Raw reviews. So he started watching Raw. I'm like, oh fuck, I haven't watched Raw in 3 years. Let's see what's going on. And that started a chain of me pretty much hate watching WWE from 2010 to 2014 just to be there and watch these YouTube reviewers who were also shitting on the show at the time. It's like, oh my god, this stuff is so shitty.
You just eat popcorn and shake your head, just like, God, it used to be so good.
God, dude, the show's Raw is 3 hours, and I would watch that show.
God damn.
3 hours every Monday, wasting my life.
It's crazy because, I don't remember, when I was a little kid, I'd watch. It's all a blur, because, again, I was, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'd watch the episodes and stuff, but, just all the memories are just chunked up to certain moments. I don't remember sitting there for 2 hours or whatever. They're just, crazy.
So I think around 2010 or so, USA Network wanted Raw to be 3 hours, and of course they gave them billions and billions of extra dollars. But fuck, dude, those shows are so long and so miserable.
All the commercials.
I think now that they're on Netflix, Raw is 2 hours, but SmackDown is back on USA and it's 3 hours. And dude, there's just so much wrestling. It's just ugh.
Yeah, back in the day, at least the commercials were cool, in the 90s and early 2000s. Now there's just stupid, weird tech shit, 30-second fucking shit that spams your YouTube. It's stupid. I remember
even back in the day, when my brother and I were watching 2007, 2008, we would rarely watch SmackDown because even back then SmackDown was a B show. You had the Undertaker on it, but that was pretty much it. So we would really only watch Raw, thankfully. But about I'm trying to remember what year, on 2011 or so, like I said, I got deep into WWF No Mercy again because it was the summer. I had my N64 and I was, watching wrestling along with these YouTube reviewers. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make an effort to actually learn move names and things like that. So I just played a shit ton of No Mercy, went to the Creator Wrestler, and actually learned move names and things like that. I actually
Fireman's Carry.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's actually a real name, real wrestling move name.
That's pretty much what John Cena's finisher is a fireman's carry.
I've only pulled off like one in real life. They're so fucking hard to do. Like if you're actually wrestling, like someone's trying to stop you from doing that move, that's so hard to do. You have to be so fast. You have to basically push them and nudge them and make, you pull them to kind of get them off balance because it's a martial art. Like actual wrestling is a martial art. So you have to like get them off balance and then snap their head and like fucking, it's so hard.
You got like the Russian leg sweep. You got the double axe handle. They got move names for everything.
Yeah, dude.
So also around 2011 or so is when I got into torrenting. So I was actually able to find all the old Raw episodes that someone had taped from 1998 to 2000. So while I was in high school, I watched every single Raw from 98 to 2000 just to catch up on the good days of wrestling. So I pretty much relived what I couldn't remember from my childhood around that time. And of course, this was before the WWE Network, so you had to scrape and claw to find all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it took me probably 6 months to download all these episodes because on my shitty house's internet. But yeah,
we had like the old internet, of course. I had the dial-up back in the day. But I remember Kazaa, I tried it for a little bit. It was hard to set up. I think I had to pay for it, so I had like a free trial, and it like sucked. But like basically, LimeWire was where it's at. I think there was there's like one other one I tried, but I think LimeWire was.
There was LimeWire, Kazaa, and like one other, like FrostWire.
No. Oh yeah, but Napster. That's what it was.
Yeah, Napster.
No. So Napster was the one that was hard to use. Kazaa and LimeWire were like my life.
Yeah, by the time we got internet in 2006, Napster was dead. So I was using like uTorrent and the Pirate Bay. So that's how I was finding all this stuff. Of course, not right now because everything's fucked because Netflix just purchased the WWE library. But, the WWE Network made things a lot easier to go back and watch all this old stuff.
Yeah, I used to, God, I'm so sorry, Courtney, but my sister, Courtney, shout out to her. I recorded over some of our like family, we don't have a lot of family fucking VHSs, dude. And I recorded over like one of the best moments we ever had as a family. Because I just grabbed the fucking tape and started recording wrestling and Girls Gone Wild and shit. And I didn't even have the tape.
Oh, let's watch Chris being born for the first time. Look at these hot 18-year-olds taking off.
No, it was literally the fucking my sister, which is like 5 or 6, singing like a Disney movie. Like my mom would record us doing random shit sometimes, and we only had like 3 of these tapes, dude. Like it was a piece of shit apparently. Little kid, 10 years old.
Oh, here's Courtney singing, look, she's about to get to the best part. Wait until you see what these crazy teenagers did in Cancun.
Yeah, it was basically Little Mermaid. She was singing like, ah! It was like, and it was literally like, okay, so I'd record MTV, I'd record Korn, not porn, Korn, and Slipknot, all those cool bands. Whenever they come on MTV, record.
And then don't make the fatal mistake I did one time when I was at the dinner table and I asked my dad to pass me the porn instead of the corn.
Oh, Jesus.
That was one of the most awkward experiences in my life.
He's like, are you okay, son? That's crazy.
No, he just gave me a look like, I know you're watching that shit. Why else would you say
that? I know I shouldn't have let you listen to the Ass Man game.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking you to therapy. But no. Yeah. That's how I used to watch my stuff, too. I'd record it on VHS.
My brother had some stuff recorded on VHS, but yeah, around the time we were watching wrestling in like 2007, you could have gotten like a DVD recorder, but we didn't have anything like that.
Yeah, because I remember there'd be weird like commercials / highlight reels. Like it wasn't the actual wrestling program like Raw or SmackDown. It was like literally like super late at night. They had weird like replays and stuff like that. Am I just tripping? Because I remember like
no, there were replay shows back in the day.
Yeah, because I remember recording highlight reels of like the this is the best moments from the last month.
Yeah,
And
they were showing. I would actually catch up with some of those. They'd be on at like 2 a.m. in the morning on like this random weird channel. But
yeah,
if
that's
I
like
missed
how
Raw that week, I would catch up with like this 2 a.m. on Saturday show.
that's like how I watch like half of my wrestling. Like it was super late. I watched weird highlights, and that I think I recorded like Mick Foley flying off the cage because that was like a year or two later after it happened. Like they were putting on highlights and shit. Yeah, I recorded it on there. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Also, while my younger brother and I were watching wrestling back in the day, every now and then we get the pay-per-views. But fuck, dude, those things are $50 each. So for $40, you could get the SD version, and for $50, you could get the HD version. And no telling how much fucking like, lawn mowing money or whatever I spent on these shitty pay-per-views. But
That's crazy.
something we found was with Dish Network, you could preview something before you buy it, but it wouldn't cut away. So we watched a whole pay-per-view just that way. So you click on the pay-per-view and be like, are you sure you want to order this? But in the background, it would just show you the pay-per-view. So we watched a whole pay-per-view doing that, and we didn't get charged. But we were scared we'd get in trouble by like Dish Network, so we didn't do that again.
Damn, like, yeah, I only watched like 2 pay-per-views back in the day. It was like the Mick Foley one, and then like a Halloween Havoc one when I ate too many cashews. Those are the only two I
This
watched.
is like 2007, 2008 pay-per-views.
Oh,
So
yeah.
fucking bottom of the barrel shit. I don't remember any of them. There's like
Yeah.
nothing cool happening.
Yeah, mine was like basically I went to my neighbor's house and watched those, and that's it was back then. I didn't have any fucking money. I was like 10, dude. 10, 12, 13, whatever.
And we also had a little blow up mattress, so before Raw would come on, we'd blow that thing up, and me and my brother would just wrestle around until we got tired, and then we'd actually watch the show, which is pretty much my Monday night for like 2 years.
Yeah, dude. Shout out again to Nick. This is one of the main things I want to talk about. My brother, my younger brother, 2 years junior. He was like my dummy, dude. I fucked him up. Like I didn't like abuse him. Obviously, I'm not a bully, but I'd ask for consent and I'd do certain moves to him. Right, like we said, one of my most memorable moves, and probably for him as well. I'm such a bastard, but it was. I basically did the walls of Jericho on him, but I'd like kind of hold both of his legs like in a weird way to where I can like with my elbows, so then I could karate chop his nuts. Like I didn't actually like full force hit his nuts, but I'd be like, bah, 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 bah. He'd be like, ah, fuck. Yeah,
I
it
know
was
what
like
your finishing move is if we ever wrestle.
Yep, Walls of Jericho with the karate chop to the nut, dude. That was like, again, sorry, Nick. About every 10 years, I go up to him, I hug him, like, dude, sorry, I used to do that shit, dude. Like, I used to power bomb him through boxes and shit. Yeah, it was fun though. He didn't care. He wasn't crying. He wasn't being a little bitch about it, but he probably got traumatized. But that's what therapy is for. But no, again, I asked him for consent. He's like, okay, I guess. He's like, yeah, it's fun. Not really.
Start wrapping things up. Pretty much around 2014, I was starting college. I'm like, dude, I don't want to watch this shit for 3 hours every Monday anymore. And all my favorite wrestlers, like I mentioned earlier, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, they're pretty much done. If you're ever bored and want like to spend 2 hours, you can look up the drama with CM Punk and the WWE in 2014, where they had the lawsuit and all this shit. Like he was working with a staff infection, and they refused to take him off the road. Like, if you want a whole bunch of random drama from like a decade ago, you can go look that up. But yeah, both of them left about summer 2014. And around that time, I was starting college as well. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just done. I'm not watching this stuff anymore. So every now and then, I'll maybe pop back in and watch a show or a Wrestlemania. But since 2014, I haven't actively watched wrestling.
Yeah, I think I watched it. I mean, not really active. I mean, 2023 when Rhea and fucking forgot his name, dude. Sorry, I'm not thinking straight right now. What was the Cody bitch face?
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes' son. He's
they're
fucking
both
Gold Dust brother.
Yeah, but they were going off like they were basically peaking like last year, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of watched YouTube shorts and reels. And I think I watched when Rhea Ripley like won the title or something, but
yeah, pretty much Triple H is actually running the show right now. Like ever since Vince got fired, he's the one. He's kind of the head of creative. He's the one booking the show. So they're probably making more money than ever before because they got bought out by UFC's parent company. They're doing better than ever before, but I still don't care.
You're just not as hardcore, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's when I stopped watching it too. Like even mid 2000s, it wasn't as hardcore.
There's also AEW. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but that's
AEW, yeah.
it's like their main competitor right now. Also by the son of a billionaire, so they got plenty of money to throw around, and they're on TNT and TNN. But again, there's like 20 hours of wrestling each week right now, and I do not have time for that shit.
Yeah, there's too much. There's so many hours in the day, and that's not a priority because it's just not as good. It's like having a bomb ass steak and then eating like a fucking burnt ass hamburger patty from McDonald's. Like, it doesn't make sense. It'll fill you up, but you got to take a shit later, and it tastes like shit.
And we didn't really have much time to go over it, but there's some side companies. Like there was a company named TNA back in the day, and like there were indie companies like ROH, Ring of Honor, CZW Combat. Like there were all these little promotions scattered around, but it's kind of too much for what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and you kind of look at like the rose tinted glasses. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like some of that stuff back in the day was kind of shitty, but if you look at it, like,
going back and watching those 98 and to 2000 Raws when I was a teenager, like, the highs are high, but the lows are low, but because the highs are so high, you forget about the shitty stuff. Like, oh my God, the Stone Cold just ran over, the Rock's car and then ran outside and threw him in a grave. You forget about Mae Young giving birth to a hand.
Yeah, and then honestly, like, they're super athletic now, and it just seems like robotic and weird and not as hardcore and risky. It's just like the drama. It's like they're basically fighting over Facebook. Like the drama is just all about their personal shit. It's not like, I don't know. It's not as theatrical in a lot of ways, dude. So I kind of think, am I just getting old and crouchy and full of nostalgia? Maybe, but only like literally 10%. Like the rest, like it was just better, dude. Back in the day, just more content that was authentic and the hardcore in the characters. And they had a lot more ground to prove and take risk taking, and the announcers were way fucking awesomer. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but again, I haven't really experienced too much of like the 80s wrestling or like uber early, like 90s.
I've gone back and watched a bit,
but so, that was glory days in a lot of ways, dude.
So like a lot of things, WWF wasn't the only promotion in town during the 80s. There was like the NWA, which had different territories across the United States. That's where like Ric Flair and guys like him would wrestle. And that was like the WWF during the 80s was pretty much cartoony wrestling that kids could watch, while the NWA, where like people were like Ric Flair was the real Southern wrestling. So you would have matches full of blood and guts and all this shit. While Vince McMahon was trying to make cartoon wrestling and things like that to make more money.
Yeah, in the 80s, though, it was kind of like those were like, I don't know. I would say that was like the glory days, and then the golden age is like what we went through. Both of those are the best. Now it's just shitty.
Yeah, there was a period between 93 to 96 where wrestling also sucked balls because there was a steroid trial. So guys like Hulk Hogan stopped doing steroids and got super, super thin, and just everything was kind of bad around that period. And then the NWO popped off, and that's what started the boom again.
Yeah. Well, damn, dude. I mean, there's obviously stuff we could talk about, but goddamn.
But we're at the 2-hour mark, so we can save stuff for another day.
Yeah, I'll save more.
How this goes.
Wrestling torture stories. I got some of those.
Well, this is the insert title here podcast. In the first episode, we thought wrestling would be the easiest thing to talk about since Butter and I like it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
On the Buttery Smooth podcast or the Get It Together podcast or whatever.
Yeah, this is Buttery 69 FM. Yep.
Coming up on the Daft Punk podcast, only Daft Punk.
Yeah, if you stayed here this long, then I will personally give you a prize somehow.
You will personally suck your dick.
I'm not saying what the prize is, but I'll give you some type of prize if you got to this point. Legit.
I feel like Ranger is like a closet wrestling fan. I haven't seen him say anything about it, but I've seen a couple things he's liked. So I feel like if we post this, I can finally find out if Ranger is a closet
If you post this.
When I post this, I'm sorry, Cody.
Yeah.
Get it together.
No, it's been fun, man. There'll be more coming down the pipe.